Good morning to everybody out there. Welcome to the Ryan Swanstrom Show. And I'm thinking I may want to change the name because I think this is less of a show and more of a gathering and a hangout where people can code with me or watch me code or we can code together. I don't know. So I might change the name to something maybe a little bit different, maybe Coding with Ryan, or I even thought it kind of might be like a little bit of a virtual coding co-working space. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call it, but for right now, it's the Ryan Swanstrom Show. I'm Ryan. Thanks for stopping by. Today, the big goal on the show is I want to see if I can get an Azure function created using GitHub Codespaces and deployed out to my Azure space. At this point, all I want the Azure function to do is just be set up so that it can run, on a timely basis once a day or something like that. I just want to know if I can get that set up and running and deployed and do that in Codespaces. If I can do that next week, I will probably come back and add some more functionality into it. What I'd eventually like it to do is pull out some news every day using the Bing News API and pull that news and then push that news out to a JSON file that I can have some of my apps read up against and pull in that information. So that's the bigger goal of what I want to do with that. But today I just want to know if I can get one created and get it deployed out to Azure. I think this is going to happen. I've built and deployed a number of Azure functions before. I don't think I've ever done it in Codespaces, but we're going to try it and see if we can get it to work today. I realized I forgot to bring my water down here. So I'm going to pause real quick and run upstairs and get my water, and then I'll be back. But here, watch this. You guys can even get one of these. It's a be right back banner. I'm back. Okay. That brings me up to let's jump into the question of the day, which you can see it down below. Here's one of the things I typically do on my show. I ask a question of the day. It provides a nice way for people to just jump in and easily participate in the conversation. So, question of the day, should I bring my text-based interviews to LinkedIn? And I hope your answer for this is yes. I don't actually know. But let's go post this out to what was my question? It's a slightly different question that I'm going to post to Instagram, not Instagram, to Threads. But let's go out here, LinkedIn. We're going to see what's on LinkedIn. Kristen is out here. We'll give her a like on this. Benefits of model monitoring. There you go. Kristen is a developer advocate, data science influencer in the world. Nice person there. But let's post in question of the day. Should I bring my text-based interviews to LinkedIn? And I might add a little more context on this. I have been interviewing people over on Threads, and the community has really enjoyed them. Should I try? Maybe not. Should I try? Would anyone on LinkedIn find it valuable if I started doing the same thing over here? All right. I'm going to post that out LinkedIn. Then I'm going to close down my LinkedIn. We'll see if anybody answers that. So that is that question of the day. Oh, my interviews for the week. Yes. So my interviews for the week. On Tuesday, I interviewed. Hi, this is Panda. Really fun interview about being a developer, software engineering versus computer science as a degree to study in, and what's it like to be a team lead? How do you get to be a team lead? So that was a good one on Tuesday. Hopefully, cross my fingers, by the end of today, I will have that transcribed and posted out to my blog. Maybe I'll actually wait and post it to my blog Saturday morning, but I'm hoping to get that out Saturday morning, and maybe I'll share out the transcription of that in those fancy orange cards that I use. Hopefully that'll go out Saturday. And on Thursday, I interviewed Lucid Voyager. Devin is his name. And that was also another really good interview. I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about on either of the interviews today or this week, but they came out very well. So Lucid Voyager, we talked a lot about tech entrepreneurship and what it's like to build your own side projects and become an entrepreneur and how that works. We dove into that a lot. Then Lucid Voyager, at the end, I asked him one sort of extra question that I maybe wasn't going to ask. I asked him for some tech predictions about the software engineering world, and he provided, I think, a list of 5 really, really good ideas of predictions that he had for, the software development world. So that was really cool. I enjoyed those interviews. Hopefully the one from Thursday will get posted out to the blog and everywhere else on Monday. That's my tentative plan on that. All right. So now let's jump back into creating this Azure function. I was going to just hold on a second. I'm not going to bring these up. On Threads this morning, I made a post about, I've been thinking about making my blog be the central location for all of my content and things go, I post things to my blog, and from my blog, it then goes out to the different social networks that I wanted to, whether that's either a manual process if I first post it to my blog and then I go post it to Threads, or then I go post it to LinkedIn or to Facebook or to Instagram, or whether I can automate that process. But main goal is, do I want to put everything on my blog and then have things distribute out from there? What that gives me is I still own and maintain and can keep all of that content that I'm putting out, and it's on my own blog. I don't know. I've thrown this idea around in my head and I thought maybe this is what I want to do, maybe not. So that's ruminating in my brain. And some people on Threads had some comments on it. So I'm going to quick respond to those. Somebody said one nice thing about that is social media goes away, your stuff is still there. Exactly my thoughts. That's what I'm going to write there. And I'm going to have to save some time to read those a little bit later, because some of them look like they might require a little bit more of my brain power than what I am going to use while I'm live streaming. So for now, let's jump into GitHub Codespaces. Sorry, I had an itch on my foot here. Oh, and I just realized I got to change my date back here. If you ever happen to tune into the live show and my date on the calendar back there is wrong, please feel free to let me know. Also, easy way to do that. So I am going to share out my screen again. We're going to go over here and we're going to start a brand new Azure function. We're going to go to, we're at GitHub Codespaces. Maybe this is hard to read. I don't know. If you're out there, tell me if this is hard to read or not. Actually, I'm gonna try one other thing here. Because last week, not last week, on Thursday, gotta get right. Wednesday. Wednesday I was live. Some people left comments on LinkedIn, but I couldn't see the comments, so I couldn't respond. I'm just typing a comment in there. Gotta close that down real quick. The comment does come across. I typed in welcome to the show. So if you're on LinkedIn or on YouTube, you can jump in, leave a comment, and I think I should be able to see them. So stop on by, say hello. Now I'm going to go out to GitHub Codespaces. Let's click on .NET. We're going to use this template. Actually, I don't think that was even the right template. I should have gone with a blank template. Oh, this is, see, here's what you get. I mess these things up. I think if I'm going to go back and read this one creates a full stack web application template written in C#. I didn't want that. I just want a blank template, and then I'm going to create a Azure function inside of it. So I messed that up. And glorious halibut. We probably need to get rid of that, but maybe we can look at this one anyway. I haven't had a chance to try one of these out yet. It is using the new .NET 8, which just came out, I believe, this week from Microsoft. No access to GitHub Copilot found. You're currently logged in. Maybe need to start using GitHub Copilot. I don't know what it's doing here. We're going to see what this builds and what this comes up with. And what we have at the end. Getting a bunch of messages. I'm supposed to go to here and click run. we're just going to run this thing. This has nothing to do with the Azure function we're trying to create, but I think I spun up the wrong project, but we're going to see what this project is anyway. Open in your browser. This is less glorious than I anticipated. All right. Tells me I need to open some. I don't think I have to open some. Anyhow, I don't know how much I want to play around with this. This was not what I was intending to do today. Which one of these opened up? We have a weather API. Ah. Oh, that one doesn't work. Is this the one? It didn't open up the right thing, so I was just going to see if anything ran and worked here. It's not looking promising on this one. But how much time am I going to spend here? I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to close this down. We're going to stop that code space. Coding halibut. Then we're going to delete that code space because I don't need glorious halibut. That was the wrong one. All right, let's give this a try. We're going to go, we're going to create a blank code space out here. And I think the first thing we need to do after that is we need to install the Azure Functions extension. And hopefully somewhere in there it will maybe then tell us what we have to do next. I don't know. But we're going to start here. I am going to give this a couple seconds to spin itself up. There's maybe actually not much it has to spin up. So I'm going to grab a drink of water. And let's go to extensions. We're going to search for Azure Functions. Azure Functions. There we go. We're going to install that. Installing Azure Functions. What that's going to allow us to do, hopefully, is it's going to allow us to create, build, and deploy Azure Functions. So if we click down at the bottom into Azure, it tells us to sign into Azure, create function app in Azure. Oh, this is going to be exciting. We're going to try this. I am going to need to sign into Azure, but here we're going to shrink that down so everybody can't see it. I'm going to sign into Azure. The extension wants to sign into Azure. Allow it. I'm going to click yes. You can't see it on the screen, but I'm logging in and connecting GitHub Codespaces to Azure Functions. Let me share this. I did get logged in. After you get logged in, you'll see a couple of different resources over here. Pay as you go, stuff like that. That's probably fine. What I wanted to know is right in here, do I created a new code space. I don't see anything down here for Azure Functions, I think, which is what's maybe throwing me off here. So we're gonna try some things real quick. Azure Resources Workspace. I kind of think what I need to do is I need to go here and create Azure Function app in Azure. I maybe need to create a resource group. Enter the name of the new resource group. Functions. And we'll hit enter on that. Select the location. I like to put mine in North Central US because I am in North Central US. So I created a new resource group called Functions for me. A resource group in Azure is simply a way and a place. It's just a grouping. You can have a number of different Azure resources. You can have web apps, you can have storage, you can have databases. If you have a resource group, that's a way to group all of those things together. And my guess is I will have a number of different Azure functions I create. I might just put them all in the functions place. So you can set up those groupings based on the activity that your resources are doing, or you can do that based on the domain of what you're working on. Like you could have all of your sales resources in a resource group, or you could have all of your data type stuff in a resource group. I don't know. I just named mine after the functions. Hopefully people are okay with that. So now I'm going to go out here and click create. We're going to create. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully people can see. Create a function app in Azure. Enter a globally unique name for the new function app. What do we want to call this? Ryan's Daily News. I might not even put daily in there. Ryan's News. Is that going to be globally unique? It is. .NET. I don't know if I want to go with .NET 8 isolated early access. I don't know about this. Do I want to go? Let's click it. We're going to try it. We're going to see what happens. Oh, but it didn't give me. I don't know where this stuff's going to all be created. So we're going to find this out, and I don't even know what we're going to find out. Maybe should have read into this a little bit further, because I didn't necessarily want an HTTP triggered function app. I wanted a timer triggered function app, but it didn't give me. So it created something for me. I don't think I have done this correctly. Click to view the resources. Where, no, see, I think I did not do this right. Pretty sure I did not do this right. So now, see, now I brought myself to the point. Let me refresh this whole page. I probably am going to have to read up a little bit on how we do this because that did not work the way I intended it to. So here we go. We're gonna go to our favorite Google, GitHub, Codespace, build an Azure function. So right up here, we have some .NET thoughts. We have a video that shows us how to do it. Maybe we'll just try this first one. So he recommends we go out to there, open in Codespaces, but if I want to create my own, hold on, let me go back. Instead of build, create. Maybe there's not a way to. Maybe there's not a way to automatically do this from within Codespaces. I don't know. We're going to find out, or I'm trying to find this out. Let's take a look at this person's blog. Create a new repository in GitHub, create a code space for this repository, and add Azure Functions, PowerShell, dev container, config files. Wait until it has been created, then create the Azure Functions project. Function with an HTTP trigger, create an Azure Function app on Azure, and deploy your Azure Function into the app. So maybe what I should have done. We're learning stuff here. We're learning. So maybe what I should have done is I should have just gone to Visual Studio Code, created an app. Let me stop this. I maybe should have gone out and created an app on VS Code and deployed it out to Azure. Then come back, check that code into GitHub, and then tried to open it in GitHub, or tried to open it in a GitHub Codespace, but I don't know how that would run on GitHub Codespaces. Maybe this is going to require a little more effort on my part. Let me do. GitHub Codespaces. Trying to look through these. You know what? We're going to bring this back up. We're just going to follow along with this. We're going to try this tutorial and see what happens. Hold on. Let me share my screen out here. We're going to try this one. I did not try to run this. Well, maybe I need to open this back up. The zany space journey. I maybe need to wait for this to open up. Don't think I need to create any resources, but I'm going to, it tells us we need to install the Azure Functions extensions, reload the environment, which we've done. Then it says install the Azure Functions core tooling by executing the following command. We're going to run this. It appears it's doing some things. And added 35 packages in 14 seconds. 3 packages are looking for funding. Okay. We can run npm install. I don't know that I'm going to run that quite yet. So I ran that. Let's come back and try. Next, open the command palette menu, view, command palette. Where? Menu. Here it is. View, command palette. And what did it say we need to go to? Azure Functions, create a new project. Menu, view, command palette. Azure Functions. Create a new project. I think that's what we got to. Azure Functions, create a new project. Yes, it is. Select the repository in which to store files for the project. Select the folder that would contain your function project. Codespaces blank. Sure. Language, we're going to go C#. We are going to try .NET 8. Maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe let's go .NET 6. I don't think it's going to matter a ton for this one, but maybe if I go with .NET 6, I won't have to worry about any new issues that might not arrive. Timer trigger. That's what I want to do. This is maybe more of what I thought I was going to be able to do, and I just failed to do the first time. Timer trigger, which means that it's going to run on a certain time frame. What do I want to call this? I'm going to call this auto news function. Let's even switch that up. We're going to call it news auto function. There's a great name for you. Okay. And then let's hit enter and provide a namespace for this. Ryan.news. What is that for a namespace? And enter a command expression, second, minute. So this is a cron expression that tells you how often this is going to run. The way it's set up right now, 0 space */5 means it's going to run every 5 minutes. We're going to fix this up. We're going to make this run every 1 minute, especially for testing purposes. Eventually, I'm going to want it to run every day, once a day. So I will move those over from the minutes to the days eventually. But for right now, I just want it to run it every 1 minute so that I can know that it's working. Gonna hit enter on that. It's creating a new project, and I can now see that it is filling up a number of different files for me. Now this is starting to look like what I would have expected it to look like. Here's your function, your Azure function. There's our namespace, Ryan.news, but the function name is news auto function. And in Azure, that's what it will actually be called. You'll be able to look it up out there. Then log information. This is all that's going to happen when it runs. Is it just prints out this log information, C# timer trigger function executed, and it gives you the time. So if I'm able to run this, I don't know if we can run this in GitHub Codespaces. Yeah. Then leave the out of the box code and run and debug menu. Click on the start button. The terminal should show build progress and the URL of the function. Let's just see what happens if we go try to run this. Attached to .NET functions. We're going to go to run and debug. I guess we're going to have to attach it to a .NET function. Let's cancel out of that for a second. So this one, we're going to see what happens. Install the core ECLR extension. I don't know which one of these I'm supposed to install. Let's go with that. Because I don't think any of those seemed exactly what I was looking for. Well, let's go back here. Now that appears that it's doing something. It's out there and it's running. Oh, it does tell me the function news timer trigger. It tells me it's running on port 7071. The function is up and running, so hopefully if this works correctly, we should start seeing some messages out here that tell us functions that say C# timer trigger function executed at such and such a time, and one should print out about every minute or so. Not seeing them. The listener for function news auto function was able to start. Microsoft Azure Web Jobs extensions timer storage could not create block container client for scheduling monitor. So I wonder if I need to have some local storage or something connected for that. I think I need to go back here and let's pause on that. Stop. We'll try to get that to stop because that didn't work. Maybe I should install the C# dev kit. We're going to try this. I don't know. Here you go. This is what you get to watch when you tune into Ryan's show. I try to build things. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it doesn't. I do have this auto function, and I think I need to connect it to some storage. Azure Web Jobs storage, and so I can maybe connect this to one of my existing. I could create an Azure blob store, or I could create some Azure storage out on Azure, and maybe that would allow me to do this. What do I put in the Azure Web Job Storage? I'm going to look this up. I think there's some default ways to do this. Azure Web Jobs Storage. It's maybe easy enough for me if I just create a storage account for GitHub Codespaces and post there. All right, looking at my phone again. Getting distracted. So maybe that's what I need to do. And just put that into our local settings file. A little bit worried about that, but all right, so here's what I'm going to do. On a separate screen, I'm going to try to figure out the blob SAS URL. But I'm going to, I maybe have one already. I'm going to go out to Azure and poke around on a separate screen that all of you can't see. Not because I have much to hide, but maybe I do have something to hide. I don't know. I just maybe didn't want everybody. Kind of thought the resource group just created it's going to be out there. It's not. That's kind of interesting. I am looking at a couple of different things out here. And I know you're not seeing what I'm looking at, and that's okay. Kind of. I have a couple of subscriptions that don't show up for me. I don't know what I just did here. I think I created an Azure function out in the wrong place. The wrong subscription. Oh, now I got some cleanup to do. I think it created that Azure function I created to put it in the different location. Now I got to figure out what that is and where I'm deploying stuff because that just doesn't seem right. Anyhow, I don't know that I'm having very good luck this morning, so I may just end the call here, and I think I have to do some troubleshooting and looking around on my end. So I guess I was not able to deploy an Azure function in 45 minutes using GitHub Codespaces. Evidently, I guess I didn't know how to do that quick enough. I maybe should have just gone into Visual Studio Code and done it there. All right. Anyhow, I'm going to hop off the call for now. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And I will probably see you on Monday morning for Thanksgiving week. All right. Goodbye, folks.